Clock on my clock. So let's, are we recording?
Yep, just turn it on.
Okay, welcome to the Town of Olive Town Board meeting for Tuesday, May 11th, 2021 on Zoom. And I'd like to, let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And David, would you put the flag up, please?
There we go.
There's one outside the face. Oh, there's one outside.
You see the flag?
There you go. Hey,
Right
Drew,
there.
do you wanna lead us off here, Drew?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
To the
flag
flag
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic which stands one nation,
under God,
indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Hey, I think we're finally getting better at that.
Yeah. Better when I don't think. Dawn, would you please do the roll call for the town board?
Yep. Board Member Bogus,
I'm here.
Board Member Kelder. Scotty's there. He just
Where did he
can't
go?
hear him.
Oh,
He was there. Board Member Edinger,
I'm here.
Board Member Reed,
I hear you, Vic.
I'm here.
Okay,
and Supervisor Sefranco.
I'm here. Thank you.
Can we go,
I'm
are we
here.
gonna go back to Scott?
Yeah, he's still.
Scotty, we can't hear you.
I'm here.
He's here.
Okay, I got it.
Boy, oh boy, you
Official
should
now.
pay, you gotta pay your cable bill.
Yeah.
All right. You've all seen the April minutes. They were sent to you. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
A second?
I'm here.
I'll second.
Hey, there you go.
That's
Thank you,
great.
Vic. Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed to the minutes or discussion? So approved.
It's Drew's fault.
You jinxed ya.
Yeah. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is correspondence. We received a very nice letter from
I'll second.
Joe Stein, who was on our sorry, I'm lost here. The Sewer District Committee for the Boyceville Sewer District, and he's stepping down from that. And I'd like to ask Dawn to send a letter to of appreciation for many years of service to the town. He's always been there, him and his wife Bev. So I'd like to, I just have to have a motion to do that. Can I get a second for that?
I'll second that.
All in favor of sending a letter of appreciation, thanks to Joe Stein?
Aye.
Aye. So carried. We had budget modifications this month. The highway budget modifications, we transferred $229,232 from Reserve A machinery to D 5130.2 machinery equipment. We
You have another correspondence you didn't do,
oh,
remember?
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. I am
I'm-
totally,
I'm gonna leave my thing on, so I keep making the changes.
yeah, well, we put this together pretty quickly today.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot. We did get a letter from the American Legion asking us to attend the Memorial Day Parade. I talked to Paul Wright about that a few weeks ago, and we talked about whether we could have the parade in the COVID. And I was of the feeling that if we maintain the social distancing that's in effect at the time, that we can have this outdoor event and bring it back this year. So he's asked the town board to attend. So I wanted to give you that notice and make the notice that that will be on Monday, May 31st. We will meet at 9 o'clock. The parade starts at 9:30 and it starts at Marty's in West Shokan. And we parade over to the town office, and there's a memorial service there, or Memorial Day service, I should say. So that was a nice letter to get and a nice invitation to get. We also, I just want to acknowledge that we did receive, I think all of us received an email from Deborah Cook in Olive Ridge, talking about the assessments that a lot of people got sent on their properties recently by the town assessor. And I just wanted to acknowledge receipt of that. And I think that's it for correspondence, right, Dawn?
Yes.
I got it. Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks for getting me there. All right. We had highway budget modifications, transferred $229,232 from Reserve A machinery to D5130.2 machinery equipment. General fund budget modifications to increase revenue from A2680 insurance recoveries of $29,599. That, if you remember, was the insurance reimbursement for the playground equipment that was damaged when a tree fell on it. Increased expense A7140.2 playground and recreation facilities. That was $29,599. So it came in one and went out the other. Increased revenue A2705 goods and donations, $5,000. Increased expenses A8989 other home and community service for $5,000. Do I have a motion to approve those budget modifications?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Thank you. We need to approve payment of the audited bills, of which the majority of us have looked at and signed. The vouchers, general fund vouchers, number 149 to 190 for $46,728.20. Highway fund vouchers, number 80 through 110 for $279, $279,618.11. Special lighting voucher number 4 for $10.85. And sewer fund vouchers, this is probably a correction on yours, 17056 through 17066 for a total of $31,147.92. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of the audited bills?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Do I have a
Yeah.
second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, David. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Thank you. The cash received in March of 2021 was $94,687.44. The interest received in March was $947.25. The additional business, we have resolution number 1
11.
of 2020, I'm resolution number 11 of 2021, authorizing the supervisor to execute a contract to buy real estate in connection with the community sewage collection system project. That's the, actually, it's the sewer wastewater project. That, let me get that out. Resolution. I see Mr. Feldman's here. He was interested in this. This is a resolution to buy the land where the wastewater treatment facility will be located in Shokan. We have been looking at land for a long time. You know, it was part of the study done by Lamont, for the extensive study that mapped out the district and also prioritized sites. And this was the number 1 site. It met all of the criteria necessary to build a facility, and it could be probably the best site ever picked for a wastewater treatment facility in the Catskill, west of the Catskills. The property is located on Route 28 in Shokan. I'm trying to see if I have the address here. Bear with me. The address is 3350 Route 28. It is on the face of it is on 28, and it goes back to Grant Avery Park. It is about what is it, 6.3 acres. And it has a stream, which is one of the requirements for that land. So we were fortunate to be able to strike a deal with Mr. Friedman about this, and we have a resolution to purchase the land. I'll read the resolution, and we can discuss it further if you like, and then we can vote on it, okay? This is resolution number 11 of 2021, authorizing the supervisor to execute a contract to buy real estate in connection with the community sewage collection system project. Whereas the town of Olive has entered into an agreement with the Catskill Watershed Corporation, which provides for the funding for the planning, design, construction, and supervision of a community sewage collection system and wastewater treatment plant for the hamlet of Shokan project, known as the project. And whereas the CWC, through its engineer, Lamont Engineers, has conducted extensive investigation, planning, and some design for the sewage collection system, and evaluated the alternative treatment technologies. And whereas in order to proceed with the planning and permitting for this project, the town must acquire property for a wastewater treatment facility. And whereas the CWC's engineer has selected the location of the wastewater treatment facility, which meets certain specified criteria regarding size, location, elevation, environmental, and availability, being certain real properly referred to on the tax map of the county of Ulster and the town of Olive as tax parcel number 46.5-1-9, known as the parcel. And whereas the town desires to purchase the parcel in connection with the project and parcel owner is willing to sell, whereas the town's attorneys has negotiated an agreement with the parcel owner's attorney, and whereas in the interest of the town to proceed with this project and purchase the parcel, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Olive authorizes the town supervisor to execute on behalf of the town a contract to buy real estate from Samuel Friedman for the purchase price of $200,000, provided the agreement is approved by the attornei for the town and is within the approved budget for land acquisition. Do I have let me ask first, do I have a motion to move this forward?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Drew. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Victoria seconds. Any discussion on this? Any questions on this?
Not from me.
I think it's a
Okay.
great location.
It is the perfect choice, and I'm very thankful for the CWC and for Kevin Young from Young Summers Law Firm, the law firm representing us in this, that we were able to get this, make a deal with this. Dawn, would you do a roll call on the resolution, please? I think you have to unmute, Dawn. Thank you.
Okay, this one doesn't give a who gave it, but it was Bogus and Reed, right?
Yes, we'll record that, yeah.
All right. So board member, I got him off out of my thing. Board member Bogus,
Yes.
board member Kelder,
Yes.
board member Edinger,
Yes.
board member Reed,
Yes,
and Supervisor Sefranco.
Yes. Thank you all. That was, that can really get us started on this project, and we will keep a record of this and send it off to the lawyers, and they can proceed, and I will sign that contract and send that off as well.
Jim, I just wanted to notice I'll let you know real quick. I think you're aware, DEP regulatory had also walked that entire lot with our engineering staff and had agreed it was the best spot in Shokan.
Great.
I do have
Okay.
one question. How long is the seeker process going to take to do before we can close that contract?
You don't need to do the seeker on the contract.
Oh,
Seeker's for the project.
It said there was a seeker before we could close. I thought on the,
Let Tim answer that.
yeah, that's correct. We're not going to close on the property until seeker has been completed. You really can't segment out this decision from the rest is seeker, so we're getting it under contract now and then allowing for the close once seeker's been completed. Looking at in the fall, they're going through they're just starting the design now and starting the sewer use law now for the district, potential district.
Tim, that kind of leaves the seller kind of out hanging loose without getting any money, right? For a while?
He got
There is a
$10,000
deposit.
down, I believe.
Yeah,
There is a deposit and the seller has agreed to this timetable. And in fact, the seller prefers this timetable.
Right.
okay.
Any other questions or comments on the land sale for the wastewater treatment facility? We will move on. Okay. All right. Resolution number 12 of 2021 is adopting the local law number 1 of 2021, the Community Choice Aggregation Law. And this one's a long time coming. I spoke to David prior to this meeting and we did not bring the resolution for the administrator of it. So I was suggesting that kind of got lost in the shuffle in trying to get this resolution together and the law together, and kind of put on the back burner for the, the resolution to hire the administrator. So we can do that on the next Wednesday. I'll get it together and we'll bring that forward to hire an administrator for the CCA. So let me read resolution number 12 of 2021 is adoption of the Community Choice Aggregation Local Law number 1 of 2021. Whereas the town of Olive is interested in promoting energy efficiency, greenhouse gas reduction, and local renewable energy generation, and I can't read, and also in reducing energy costs for its residents. And whereas the New York State Public Service Commission in April 2016 authorized the development of community choice aggregation programs, which allow participating local governments to work together through a shared purchasing agreement to procure natural gas and/or electric energy supply on behalf of their residents and small businesses. And whereas community choice aggregation allows the exercise of local control to negotiate lower, more stable and predictable energy prices, to increase the percentage of renewable energy in the fuel mix, to promote energy efficiency, and to encourage local renewable energy development and local job growth. And whereas residents and small businesses that are not interested in participating in CCA energy procurement are able to opt out and purchase their energy through Central Hudson or another energy provider of their choice. And whereas with the CCA program, Central Hudson will provide delivery of electricity and will maintain the grid to ensure safe, reliable electric service. And Central Hudson will provide service of last resort in the event a CCA supplier does not perform. Whereas in order to create a community choice aggregation program for New York State's municipalities, the New York State Public Service Commission has to approve the creation of any new CCA district. And whereas a village, town, or city must pass a local law to establish participation in a CCA program. And whereas local law number 1 of 2021 was introduced to the town board at its February 9th, 2021 town board meeting, and a public hearing on local law number 1 of 2021 was held on March 24th, 2021 for the town board to hear input from the public. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Olive adopts local law number 1 of 2021, a local law to enable community choice aggregation in the town of Olive. Do I have a motion to put this resolution forward?
I'll make that motion.
David, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you,
Scott?
Scott.
And any discussion on this? We have been talking about this for a long, long
At least
time.
3 years.
For years and months. And I think it's a good thing. And if you look at, there were some comments, the public input, some people were not happy with having to make the choice as the default if they chose not to participate in the program. And I did want to mention that from my observation, this gives you an opportunity for another choice of electricity. So it opens up choice rather than closes choice. Any other comments?
Nope.
Wow, you guys are quiet tonight. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Dawn, can you do the roll call, please?
Board Member Bogus,
Yes,
Board Member Kelder,
Yes.
Board Member Eniger,
Yes,
Board Member Reed. Supervisor Sefranco.
Yes. So carried. So thank you very much. That was a long time coming, a lot of work. I want to thank the OCAC for their hard work on this and pulling this together and being persistent and you know, really pushing this for the town, and it was good work. And we had some great presentations about how this works, and we're going to hear a lot more about this in the future. This is going to be, there will be a public publicity side to this and a public engagement and trying to outreach into the community. So that's great.
let me just put in the record that there are still several points over the next couple months that we make decisions about whether to proceed. So if contracts come back and they're not to our satisfaction, this isn't a commitment. It just starts the process.
Right. What we're really doing is just, you know, creating the law to be able to do this and start on the project, on the whole process. That's great. I did want to make a mention here and make a motion that we are making a slight modification to the septic design for the town offices. And I want the contractor to proceed with this. And we will probably submit this, Tim, to the CWC because it will give us the capability of putting in the West Shokan Firehouse, which is adjacent to the town office. They have a problem with their septic, and it would save a tremendous amount of money for everyone involved, CWC and everyone involved in this, to just tap their system after their wastewater tank to tap into our septic field, which will be located across the parking lot in Davis Park. So I just wanted to make a motion to approve that design change. It's not even a design change. I don't think it's just adding a Y and a couple of pieces of pipe to bring off the parking lot area so that we can proceed with our job. And then when and if this happens with an easement from the Olive Fire Department, it's easier for them to tap in than to have to tear up our parking lot again to do this. Does that make sense? Tim, are you good with that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard, we had talked about it, Jim had talked about it with our staff as well up at CWC. The Olive Fire Department is in the septic program. They are eligible for 100% reimbursement. The only concern I had, which Jim assured me the engineer is addressing or has addressed with the city, is whether or not the leach field for the town septic system would need to be just a little larger to accommodate the use from the fire department. And I think that's getting resolved, but that's between the engineer and DEP, who's the regulator.
Right.
Sure, just
There's
goes by
no-
bathrooms, but that firehouse gets almost no use. It's probably
Yeah,
a
there's-
handful of flushes a week.
Yeah, there's no, it's not like the one on Mill where you have where you have a hall there that gets regular use from, you know, Cub Scouts and weddings and everything else in between. It's just a bathroom for drill night and calls, but whether or not that adds to the design flow for the town system, like I said, that's something for the engineer and DEP to work out, but we don't have a problem. Seems to be a pretty good solution for all concerned.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
So I made a motion to just approve that little additional work there. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We got an application from an electrical inspector. I don't know this fella. His name is, shoot, let me just dig this out of here. Wait, paper clips are good when they work, and when they start getting into anything else. His name is Gary Beck Jr. And he is from LaGrangeville, Z3 Consultants. He's he made a request to the town to be put on the approved list of electrical inspectors. I don't have a problem with it. His certifications are incredibly long and detailed. He's a state certified building official. He's a licensed home inspector. He's a code compliance technician. He's a master electrical license, master plumber license, oil license, and gas license, all in the city of Poughkeepsie. He is what the heck was he? He's a code enforcement official in Poughkeepsie, and he was a building inspector 2 in Poughkeepsie for 10 years, et cetera, and a lot of other stuff. So he's certainly qualified to do this. So I'd like to make a motion that we add Mr. Beck onto our approved and see, what's the name of the company here? Z3 Consultants on the electrical inspection list. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Thank you. Okay. I notified you earlier that we got correspondence from Joe Stein, resigning from the Sewer District Committee. And I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Boyceville resident Steve Norman to the Sewer District Committee. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So carried. And I just wanted to make a motion to approve the Ulster County Election Board want to use the American Legion Hall in Shokan in late October for several days of early voting. It doesn't seem to conflict with anything that we have going on there at this time. So I'd make a motion that we allow the Ulster County Board of Elections to use the Legion Hall for early voting in late October. Do I have a second? It might even have a day in November. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. I'm going to ask Drew to introduce local law number 2 of 2021, amending the zoning code, chapter 155.
So this is something we've been working on for almost a year and a half now. It's not a big change, but you all were emailed the local law number 2 last week. I'm not going to read through it, but I'll kind of give you a brief idea what it's dealing with. Most of these are what I'll call simple, either corrections to the zoning code or clarifications to the zoning code. Some of it's just typos. One thing we did add was the ability for people to use a tiny house on a lot for their main dwelling as opposed to a regular house. One of the things that our code defined and mentioned was 2-family homes, but never actually made it allowable use. So we're adding that as an allowable use in essentially all the zoning districts. The major change to this code is adding accessory apartments. As I mentioned last night, we have people in town with accessory apartments to their main dwelling, but there's nothing in our code that would allow that. So this pretty much does 2 things. It allows it to be there, and it's an encouragement for people to have an accessory dwelling for long-term rentals. And we're making this so that it's, as they define it in the county, as of right. so that it's part of your, if you have a resident, you have a right to have an accessory apartment on your property without planning board approval unless the code enforcement officer thinks it's necessary. Let's see what else we got here. The planning board has authority to hire consultants for doing subdivisions, but there's nothing in the code that specifically says they have the authority to hire consultants for site plan. So we added a comment about that. And one other thing that was in our code is the planning board had the authority to do site plans for all principal uses. Although it never really came up, that would exclude what you might call accessory uses on the property. And I'll give a good example of Shokan Dreams where they had an accessory use for weddings. The code didn't really say that they had the authority to oversee that site plan. So this kind of gives them the authority to have site plan review of everything other than single and two family homes. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, the other thing that a couple of references, there was no reference in our zoning code back to chapter 97, which is the floodplain regulations. So put a reference in there to that to make sure that if anybody's trying to build on the in a floodplain, there is reference from the zoning code back to that chapter that has more stringent controls on it. So hopefully next month, we will have a public hearing on that local law.
Well, what
Yeah.
we should do is you should make the motion and set the public hearing now if you want to do it next month.
Okay.
So somebody's got to make the motion.
So I'll make a motion that we have a public hearing for local law number 2 at June's
You want to do it on Monday or night?
on the workshop meeting on Monday. And
So do we want to pick a time?
What date is that?
14th.
June 14th is the Monday,
Yes.
and that's the meeting date? Because the first Dawn, help me out here. The first Tuesday is the first.
It's the first Monday and Tuesday.
Monday,
Right.
it's not
It's
just the
the
one day.
second. It's the second Tuesday. I have to look at my list.
Oh, yeah. Is it the 7th or the 14th?
So I have to look at my list.
I have it
and
down as
see
the
if-
7th. I
Oh,
think
okay.
Yeah, because it usually goes by the second Tuesday because the workshop is not formal. I'll have to look at what's in the organizational minute.
but the org is 7th and 8th.
Right,
All right.
so if it's 7th and 8th on the organizational meeting minutes, we will meet then on the 7th for that
Right.
period.
All right, so who's making a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion
And we're setting the public hearing.
for 6:45 on June 7th.
Okay, now, is it gonna be
All in
Zoom?
favor?
Wait, is it gonna be Zoom?
I believe we're going to get back to real meetings by then.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
will be a
when I
live
do the
meeting.
ad, I gotta make sure I have it right.
I just don't know where we're going to have it yet, whether we're going to have it outdoors or in the courtroom.
I think I have time for us to do that, Jim.
Okay,
Because I have to have it just certain time, 5 days before, no less than 5 days before.
okay,
so-
so yeah, make a note of that so we get that out and about
Okay,
in a timely fashion.
okay, now you can do all favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I opposed. Thank you. And Drew, you want to talk about chapter 133?
Yes.
Law number 3?
So at the same time as we're working on chapter 155, we looked at the subdivision code, which there's not really any major stuff there. But there really was a conflict between our subdivision code and our town road spec about what you did with dead end roads. The the subdivision code allowed the dead end road to end in either an L or a T, but the town road spec says T only. So what we're doing is removing the L option out of the subdivision code, which should have never been there in the first place because there's no way to turn around big rigs with just an L. And the other two are primarily, the other two changes are, well, one was there was a public hearing missing in the, for minor subdivisions. We're adding that in there. We always did it, but it was not in the code. And two other things that from the planning board point of view, they do a lot of lot line adjustments, but there's no mention in our subdivision code of lot lines. So what we did is just added a sentence that basically said lot line adjustments or deletions are to be treated as a minor subdivision. And the other problem the planning board has had over the years is, let's see how I explain this. Let's say somebody 20 years ago subdivided their property into 4 lots, and now somebody wants to divide one of those lots into 2 lots. That would shift it from being a minor subdivision to a major subdivision. And you can get into a debate about how far back you should look before you say, well, now it's a major because you did it 20 years ago. So what we did is put a sentence in there about the look back time of being 5 years. So that the main thing about that is making sure somebody's not trying to game the system by doing a couple of subdivisions now and then next year, a couple of more subdivisions. It just makes planning board's job easier. So I'd make a motion that we, this will be local law number 3 for 2021. So I'll make a motion that we have a public hearing on the same night as local law number 2.
I'll second that.
I would suggest that we do it maybe at 6:55.
I,
This one I would expect to be a very long public
well,
hearing.
I think you should still keep them 15 minutes apart. So 6:30? You got one at 6:45, 6:30?
Okay.
Okay.
Just in case,
Just in
Sure.
case.
just in
Yeah.
case.
Okay.
Good idea. I'll second that motion to,
Vicky already did, I think.
Because
Yes,
I gotta, on those kind of local laws, I have to notify bordering towns.
Okay.
All in favor of those motions?
All right.
Opposed?
And Jim, while I've got the floor, I think there was
Sure.
one thing that was left off the agenda, the appointment of Josh Caliendo tonight. So we need to add that.
Okay, do you want to do that in the police commission report, or you want to do it now?
We could do it
Let's
now.
do it now. I think, wait a minute, there they are, they're over
Yeah.
there. You moved your
They're
window,
both here.
guys. How'd you
His
do
family
that?
is also here, Tasha.
Go ahead, Drew, take that over.
So I'll make a motion that we appoint Josh Caliendo, Sergeant for the police department. There was a recommendation from the police commission.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Congratulations,
Congratulations,
Josh.
Josh. Good
Oh,
luck.
boy.
Thank you. That one off. Take this one. One.
Hey, Chief,
Sure.
turn a little bit so the father can get the picture.
There you go.
congratulations.
That's great. It's so funny to see it on Zoom like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I couldn't see much of it on Zoom.
It's almost like an animation. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, I
Congratulations,
have a
Josh. Thank you for everything you guys do. We really appreciate your work for the town, your service, and we look forward to a nice relationship with you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Good. Hey, Josh, I have a quick question. Are you in any relationship to Vince Caliendo?
No, sir, but my uncle is Frank Caliendo. I don't know if you've ever heard of him,
No.
comedian, the famous comedian.
We're
Oh.
taking this all back now. That you
Oh,
told me.
wow.
I gotta look him up now. Frank Kelly.
All right, good.
If it's okay, we're gonna bang out of the meeting now because we have some paperwork to go over and some stuff. You're
Okay,
gonna miss us, okay?
yep, thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Have a good night. That was great. Okay, back to the drawing board here. We all had a contract, we saw the contract that KAN and Cynthia Nickerton presented to us for the visioning of the properties in Boyceville, for the use of those properties and integrating the high school students into that visioning and outreach into the community to come up with a kind of a general plan on how to move forward on the properties that we've acquired so far. So I made some recommendations. They made some modifications to the contract. We got the new contract, and I'd like to move forward on that. And I make a motion that you authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with KAN and Cynthia Nickerton for the boys. Actually, it's with KAN for the Boyceville visioning use plan. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. We also had, remember when we applied to the Nature Conservancy for a very similar grant that the grant that we're using KAN with for visioning of all of the properties in Boyceville. We did not receive that grant, but KAN came back and offered to pay a stipend to the people that we're working with to look at the towns that did receive their grants and watch their process and try to learn from the process. And they can learn from our process a little probably. So
Wasn't that the Nature Conservancy?
the Nature Conservancy, yes. So the Nature Conservancy is offering a $6,500 stipend to our consultants, and they asked us to put a person from the town who's not the consultant as well on that group of people to participate in this kind of a mentoring mentee type of program. This is something they're kind of developing as they go. And what I did some outreach into the community and was able, very, very grateful to get Lori Madison to agree to participate in that with kind of as the town representative. And she will be observing through Zoom meetings and maybe other participation. I don't know how much they're going to get involved, but KAN will receive this grant and divvy out according to how they feel. It's not a grant going to the town, it's a grant going to these three people. So depending on who's doing what, they can figure out how much the stipends are for it. So I would like to approve Lori Madison and Cynthia Nickerton and KAN to be the recipients, to Lori Madison as the town liaison and Cynthia and KAN as the recipients of the mentor program grant from the Nature Conservancy. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, very good. That's a tough one. We also had a planning board opening when Helene Grant resigned. And we had two applicants. We had Cynthia Nickerton and Paul Wright, both very interested and both qualified. Well, Cynthia, we know, she's been working with us in Boyceville. And Paul is someone who initially wanted to be on the planning board, and we appointed him to the ZBA last year. So I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Paul Wright to the planning board. And do I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. And we should probably send a letter to Paul, letting him know that he was appointed, and a letter of thanks to Cynthia for her application. You got that, Dawn? Thank you. We had, the next thing here, we had Lime Energy, who work with Central Hudson in doing energy audits. And they did an audit on the facilities in the town, and we looked at a couple things, but the highway garage and the cold storage garage in the complex, the highway department complex in West Shokan, where the town office is, there was a proposal to change out their existing lighting and upgrade to higher efficiency LED lighting. And we had that proposal last night. Let me see if I can find it. That savings was around 23. I'm sorry, no, was it? Let me catch up to myself here. Yeah, there were a number of fixtures they would change out to LED, and it would be a savings of $191 a month, a 1-year savings at $2,298 a month roughly, and a 5-year savings of $11,000. The return on investment would be 93%. What they're asking us for is they have, the actual upgrade cost is $7,943. There's a utility incentive that is a offset for that price of $5,601.63. That leaves the cost that the town is responsible for to do this at $2,341.43. It's kind of a no-brainer that the yearly savings on their estimate of use would be $2,298.01 a year. It's a 98% return on our investment somehow. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign that contract with Lime Energy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Great, thank you. Okay, now I'm gonna go going rogue here, Dawn. Not on your agendas. Brian brought it up last night. There's a revised agreement for the expenditure of highway monies, or the CHIP money, that Brian told us he was gonna do, and he brought it to the town board. And it will require a signature from all of us. If you recall, the last time we did this, and he's added 2 roads to what he previously submitted to us. So I'd like to make a motion that we sign the agreement for the expenditure of highway monies for the section 284 of the highway law. This is a number of places on Hannah Lane, Run Road, Mill Road, Acorn Hill Road, DeWitt Road, and Brown Road. Let's see if there's a. Nope, and we've all taken a look at this last night. Do I have a motion to move forward on this 284 agreement?
I'll make the motion to move forward with the amended 284.
Anyone else? Second?
I'll second.
Scott seconds. Any discussion on this? You're all pretty good on this. We talked about it last night.
I sent it to them today too,
Yes, we saw
Okay,
it.
so they've all seen it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Thank you. All right, let me,
While he's thinking there, anybody who can stop in the office to sign it, I would appreciate it.
I'll try to
we
come
want
by
to get
tomorrow
it
morning.
signed. How many days do we need to sign that in?
How many days do we have?
Yeah.
It doesn't really say.
so
I
we
just
wanna
gotta, I gotta get
this-
all of you guys to sign it. Brian's gotta sign it, and then I gotta send it to the county for signature.
Okay.
How late are people around tomorrow?
What's that?
How late are people around tomorrow?
Well, I won't be in the morning. I have to take my mom to the doctor.
But
But
it will
if,
be there to sign.
but will you be there in the morning,
I can
Jim?
be there in the morning.
Jim?
I will be there by around 9:30.
Okay, come after that time. Jim, just leave it with Amanda.
Is 4:30 too
And
late?
everybody can come in and see Amanda for signature.
4:30 is too late.
Okay.
And Scott, I will send it home with Diana once I get other signatures.
I can
Okay.
come Thursday morning.
Thursday morning?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, I did want to also give you an update on the building and zoning clerk. We received to date 6 applications. We did yesterday, we did scheduled 5 interviews. We had 1 no-shows, so we did 4 interviews. All were good candidates that we're evaluating, and we have 1 more scheduled for tomorrow. So it's really good that we have a lot of people stepping up, very qualified people, really interesting group of people. So we're looking forward to that. I wasn't going to bring this up tonight, but I want to move forward on it. I received yesterday a piece of mail from New York City DEP that is a contract for the sale of property through the New York City funded flood buyout program for the Stuckey property in Boyceville. And I would like to make a motion that you authorize me to sign that contract so that we can move that.
Does that have to be by resolution?
I don't believe
Because
so.
I have to look back. I thought we normally did a resolution, but I'd have to look. You can make the motion tonight, but if we need a resolution, we'll do it next month. I don't think I can get into my documents right now on that.
We've had the resolution to participate in the program with them and
Right.
town to retain ownership of it.
Does
So this is
Tim
just a
know if we
contractual thing.
need to do that by resolution, Tim?
I do not know because I'm not involved in the contract between the town and the city.
Right.
Okay.
It did not make-
Dawn, I could be wrong, but I don't think we had to do a resolution on just approving the signing of the contract.
Okay.
But we could do the motion tonight if it works, and if we have to have.
And
a
I'll check
resolution, we can do
on
next
it
week.
tomorrow.
Yeah, and I will say that they did not send a resolution.
Yeah, they would usually do that if they needed it.
Yeah, which is often what they do. It's just a contract. That's why I didn't think we might not have to do it.
Right.
And I thought I'd try to get it tonight because I do have to get it notarized, and I would like to get this back to them and get this process moving. That property has been taking a long time to acquire through the buyout program because of DP needing to do some analysis on it and the lot line adjustments on that property. It's a long time coming. So I will make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with New York City DEP to acquire the Stuckey embroidery property in the town of Olive in Boyceville at 15 Ronson Road. And do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. And we'll look into it, Dawn. If we need a resolution, we'll come back next week when we come to Wednesday's meeting. We'll make it a resolution.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get it off my plate. It's a big pile of paper. I did want to give you an update. I had a call, again, this is off of the agenda here. I did have a call from Bill Rudge today from New York State DEC. And I would just want to make you all aware of some regulations that the DEC is imposing on May 15th in 4 days through, I believe he said, I don't have my notes here on it. I believe he said either through October or November. I believe it was October. for what they're calling now the Peekamoose Valley. And the way it was described to me is that if you go up Watson Hollow Road to the town end where the Pack property is located at the top of the hill, from there all the way down to sundown will now be regulated between those months, during those months. And you will need a use permit, a day permit to hike, fish, camp, just about do anything that you get out of your car for. This will, and there will be a fee associated with any of those uses. A single day use fee to hike would be $10. I believe that's per person. And that would be regulated by their reservation system, which I will put on the town website tomorrow or the next day. I think it's called Reserve America, the one they currently have for the Blue Hole. And they will be limiting the number of reservations per day to, I think he said about 100, maybe it was 99, something like that. And it's going to be a certain amount, like 30 or so reserved for camping and about 60 for day use permits. So that's going to get strictly regulated. They will have some stewards up there that they're working with the Catskill Center to get, and they will have their DEC rangers as well in the vicinity, if not there, and in walkie-talkie contact, radio contact with the rangers.
I'm going to call up to town of Denning and have Joy make sure they put their sign out by the rail trail. Like they had it first at the end of Watson Hollow, which caused a pain in the neck, especially during the COVID. Everybody stopping to get to get information about it. So once we put it at the end of 28 over by the rail trail, I had nobody else coming in. So the forest rangers moved it for me so that it wouldn't have an issue with people stopping in and coming in, especially during COVID, to get information on it. So
Yeah, there was a lot of people last year.
yeah, it was making
All
me
the
crazy.
time.
I put signs everywhere and they didn't read any of them.
Okay.
So I'm gonna,
I
Paul
just want to make note, this is Gene, by the way, state DOT put the changeable letter sign today at the intersection of 28 and 28A in Boyceville.
good.
It's already up, and
They
I
put it
think-
back down there, then I don't have to call Joy then.
I think it's enhanced everything that Jim said, because there's a lot of words flashing it. And I didn't get a chance to read it because it's a little chaotic there, but it's certainly up already, which is kind of early compared to years past.
I'm sure I'll get some people coming in. I'll put some signs out again, but I will, I'm sure I'll get some, but it helped towards the end there when they were doing that.
It's, and I also mentioned to Bill that I had concerns about the people that might go up there and get turned away and end up coming back into West Shokan or stopping at the Canape and overcrowding the Canape Trail. I initially thought that we could put no parking signs up, but I subsequently spoke to Brian about it. Bill had agreed to pay for the signs, and I told him we'd put them up with our labor, but then Brian reminded me that's a county road and we don't have the authority to do that. So I have to reach out to county and see if we can get them if we need it. Brian and I will take a look up there later this week to see if there are indeed areas near Canape where people can park on the side of the road that's going to be hazardous, especially up there after that bend. It's kind of windy right there. And we don't want to create another parking fiasco like has happened in other trailheads across the Catskills. So we'll be looking at that and trying to find a way to get ahead of that if we can.
Okay, I'm gonna just bring up, I did look in my resolutions, and yes, in resolution number 7 of 2018, we did do a resolution empowering the supervisor to sign a contract.
Okay. All right. I also just want to let you know that there's an there, I don't have this came across my desk this afternoon too. There will be a bike race on June 19th and 20th. I think that's a Friday, Saturday. And it's like a 50-mile race, a relay race, I believe. And it will be coming up from like New Paltz and back, but they'll be entering the town. It looks like they're going to come up like up, down, up. I don't know if it's up or down on Acorn Hill Road over to the reservoir, go on the reservoir promenade and over to 28A. And then I think it's a Shokan Road they go back on. So that's developing. I'm in communication with them. They did reach out to the Olive Police. I told her she better reach out to the DEP if they're going to be having a relay race on their property. But I'm sure they will. She just wasn't that forthcoming with her initial email and the information. And I did let her know that we don't have bike lanes and it's a shared use with vehicles. And they're doing it on a weekend where there's a lot of people who aren't very accustomed to driving on country roads. So we'll see how they react to that situation. But I did want to just get that out there and try to give them fair warning, at least.
I think that's the same race that Sylvia had every year and hated it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not positive it is. Okay. We also, moving on to the agenda again, we had, and I want to just discuss this before we go into waiving these park fees. We are getting, because of COVID and because of the use of some of it's stuff that's done before, some of it is stuff that hasn't, using our town pavilions and parks for Onteora and for some nonprofits. And the nonprofits are starting to really want to do that using the park facilities. And, we generate a certain amount of revenue on the rental of the park facilities. And traditionally, when we have a nonprofit, a church group, Onteora, and so forth, we don't charge them for the use of the parks. So I just wanted to mention that. And, this year might be a little bit of an outlier. I don't know. But we do have the Onteora Booster Club for the senior picnic, the 6th grade moving up picnic, and the Onteora Central School soccer wants to all have events there. We had the coalition to Save Catskill Preserve, the people who so admirably organize themselves to oppose the pump storage project that we were so involved in a month or two ago, and the Methodist Church, who I think they often do that, right, Dawn? They've done that before.
Yeah,
So,
and the school stuff is all on a weekday, which we wouldn't take a fee for
right.
anyway.
So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't think it's in a crisis moment now, but we might want to start thinking about that policy as we move forward. If it gets to be overwhelming to people.
I just got, because I got asked by one I put in the book that it was a fundraiser for students. What is it? The ward, a student ward. And I told them that it had to be put before the board if they wanted it to be free. And Gina Vanacore brought it up to me, and I said, you don't pass all of them, but you'd have to put it before the board too.
We certainly don't want to be the place where every outdoor event occurs because we have a pavilion.
Right.
We might want to be convincing them to, maybe in this use plan in Boyceville, they work out something where they build a pavilion on one of those properties that we can all share and use, and maybe they can maintain it. I mean, there's a lot of possibility for creative ideas there as we move forward, but and I understand that they couldn't plan anything a month ago with their facilities because of the COVID restrictions. So, all of these groups will have to still maintain whatever COVID, restrictions and guidelines are in place at the time of their event. That's been our policy. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention that we're getting a lot more inquiries along those lines. I'm not necessarily interested in turning anyone down, but at some point it might just become a little bit too much. I don't know. Any thoughts or comments?
Is it worth encouraging some of them to use Grand Avery instead? There's a pavilion there as well.
Well, this is not specific to any park at this point. But one is to Davis Park. I think there's a certain amount of flexibility in that for them.
Mhm.
I don't think that's the issue, is what I'm saying.
And between the two, I think we should be able to accommodate most.
Yeah, I mean, most people want to use Davis Park because they have the pool during the summer. But anyway, so I'd like to make a motion to waive the park fee for Onteora Booster Club Senior Picnic, the sixth grade Moving Up Picnic, and the Onteora Central School Soccer during the weekdays. We don't charge a fee, but I'd like to make a motion that we allow them to use those facilities and clean up after themselves and so forth, and follow all the policies in the park without a deposit or anything like that. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good.
Jim, just a point of interest, the soccer club held their thing this past weekend, and that was at Grand Avery Park, and I was there and everything was fine.
Oh, okay. I don't know how we got behind the curve on that one. Was that the central school?
That's correct. That was actually your nephew's team.
Oh. Enough said. Also, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the park fee for the Coalition to Save Catskill Preserve. They want to get together and celebrate their tremendous work that they did. And I don't have a problem with that at all. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. And waive the park fee for the Methodist Church on July 18th for Davis Park. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion. To waive the fee.
That is a fee waive. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
Scott, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Great. All right, the 2020 Planning and Zoning Board Training Report. Dawn, I think that's you.
That is me. Okay, just so you know, in 2020, the zoning board did all their trainings. They got in there, they got a lot of their trainings in before everything shut down for COVID. So everybody got their 4 hours except for Sandy Fridown. She had 2. And I believe they started their training for this year too already. For 2020 planning board, Steve Dibble had 3 hours, but he has credited hours. Helene Grant had 3.5. David Sorbellini had 5. Heidi Emmerich 11. Nick had just started towards the end, so he didn't have any. Dan Lefevre didn't have any, and Ed Cahill didn't have any.
What about, what's his name wasn't on there? Was,
He was
Tim
not
was
on there
very
in
end.
2020.
right, oh, okay.
Right, he started in January,
What did you
and
say Ed
they
had?
all have their 4 for this year, so
What did Eddie Cahill have?
he didn't have any in 2020.
But he had credits, right?
Yeah, he has no credited hours. He had negative 25.
But we
So
did
he-
waive them, right?
Huh?
We did
Sylvia
waive,
had given him a whole bunch for all the flood advisory, so he's been working off of what meetings he went through.
didn't we waive their required training for the work they've done this year so far?
That's
That was this year?
that's for
2021.
2021.
Okay,
All right, you'll see that next year.
okay, great.
That's it.
All right.
Jim, I got one little quick thing.
Thing before we go to committees. Drew.
Because Helene resigned from the planning board and the county planning board, at some point, we need to find somebody to replace her as the alternate to the county planning board. It's not a big deal because I pretty much never miss a meeting, but something we have to figure out eventually.
All right, do you want to, Victoria, do you want to bring that up to the planning board at their next meeting?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Let's see if anybody wants to volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to, I don't know when they meet and all that.
The first Wednesday of the month.
So the day after the planning board meets.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, I think in my 7 years on the board, I've missed 3 meetings. 2 of them were not my fault. They changed the meeting and I couldn't make it.
Okay. Yeah, see what kind of recommendations you get. Before we go to committees, anything else? David, did you want to bring anything up?
I'll do it during my committee update.
Okay, all right. Cable franchise negotiation. We did not meet, but I have been talking to Charter Spectrum about looking at areas of the town. There are 3 areas of the town where we have long runs of long runs of no cable installed and is in need of build out. There is funding allegedly coming our way from the Recovery Act, and the county is going to get money, the state's going to get money, and the towns are supposed to get money. And one of the possible uses for that money, which is probably the clearest use, is for broadband. The details, there were some details that came out yesterday, and I haven't had time to really deep dive into them. I don't think they were much more detailed than what we knew a month ago. The devil is always in the details on these kind of things, because as we found out from the FEMA portal that we opened, many of the things that we thought we would be reimbursed for were not eligible. So it really is dependent on what they deem eligible or not. I've already seen language in the broadband proposal that made it sound like, yeah, we want to build out everywhere, unless of course it's too expensive or too far. There was actually language in like that. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Who makes that decision? The broadband company? We're right back where we started. So I'm hopeful, but I'm not overly optimistic that that's ever going to happen. So in light of that, I asked Charter Spectrum to give me some prices. I initially asked them to build out the whole town. I had a meeting with them last week, and they were, why don't you tell us some long areas where you have the greatest need, where people are calling you, and we can see where we are. Let's start there piecemeal. So we're not spending a lot of time giving you a big price that you can't afford. So I asked them to give me a price on Chase Road, Peck Road, and Freeman Avery Road. Those are the longest runs. And I know that the town itself is looking at $400,000 plus in this recovery money. I don't know how far that will get us. I'm sure the cynical side of me, skeptical side of me looks at it and says probably Charter Spectrum's looking at that number too and wondering how much we want to spend on it.
Because it's public money, so they know, it means public information. So they know.
Yeah. This isn't their first rodeo with this. So, this is don't get me started on this. Anyway, so what I asked them to do was that, and I be coming back to me in a few weeks with numbers piecemeal for those, and we can decide if that funding comes our way, how we want to spend it. I also did some outreach to a little bit of outreach to Senator I didn't do the outreach to her. Let me step back a little. I did some outreach to our Senator Oberacker and State Senator, and I asked him if when these funds start coming into the state, that maybe there's potential for the towns to utilize their funding and pay for build out and maybe get reimbursed by the state money or county monies. In other words, let the towns decide where they want the build out rather than it coming from the top down and being data driven, which historically has proved to be very unsuccessful in our town, at least, because we're a town that looks like we're 99% built out at this point. So I don't know if we'll get much traction on that. He thought it was an interesting idea. He actually had another person on his staff who was a town supervisor who had the same kind of idea pushing him. Let's see how that goes. So that's all I got on that. Parks and Recs, Scott.
So we did meet last week. Youth sports are up and running. Little League, girls softball, tackle football. I guess from what Gino said, was a big draw for tackle football at Tongor Park because soccer is not happening. He's working on adult softball, possibility of 8 men's team, and also possible formation of women's softball again. If Gino wants to touch on the pool and day camp, we spoke about day camp last night, but he may be able to add some more information because he did get an email back from the county today. You want to jump in there, Gino?
Yeah, sure. Not much really to add. I'll take the easy stuff first. The pool is operational. I have a staff meeting with the lifeguard staff next Thursday. Do some orientation, some preseason prep, develop a schedule, and we are slated to do a soft opening probably the Thursday of Memorial Day weekend to get everybody acclimated to the protocols. And then our real first full day of operation will probably be Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. And then we'll probably do weekends for most of June as our staff slowly weans out of school. Then we'll go full time by the end of June on through Labor Day. So the pool shouldn't be an issue. I did get an email, which really wasn't much of more information than what I already know. Basically, the state has not given any guidance yet on what it takes to run a day camp, which is very unfortunate that, you know, the announcements were made back in March by the governor's office that day camps could operate, but no guidance is available. Normally, our rec meeting last week, we would have been hiring staff. We are about 45 days behind of the process that I have to get camp up and running. What we did agree is that we would have a drop dead date of making any permanent decisions about day camp within the next 3 weeks. I spoke to the busing company. They need to know by June 10th, the latest, if in fact they would be offering transportation. The guidance that they have for transportation is no more than 2 children per seat and 50% capacity on the bus. So that represents some challenges right there. But the rec committee and myself, we agreed that we would try to patch together something if the guidance from the state allows us to. We also determined that day camp would have started on June 28th and concluded on August 5th. At this point, that's not going to be possible. So we're thinking if the guidance permits, we would do an abbreviated day camp for this year, possibly 4 weeks. But once again, I can't be definitive because I just don't know what it's going to take to run a camp. The guidance that the Board of Health is telling me is don't be surprised if it's not the same as last year, which is unfortunate to hear, But if that's what it is, then unfortunately, it may not come our way. The library is not going to have any programs for us this year in the library because she is under the same criteria, what she can hold inside that building. So we're kind of handcuffed until we get some guidance, but I want you guys to know as much as possible because you're out there in the public just as much as I am, and everybody's very eager to do stuff. And this is a hurdle, and we all know that, you know, the schools are dealing with this on a regular basis. And, you know, the announcement yesterday was children from 12 to 16 now can be vaccinated. So we just really don't know. So that's the most up-to-date information concerning day camp. Everything else that Scott mentioned, we're doing. All the sanctioning bodies for sports have COVID plans in place and everybody's following them. And so far, we haven't had any issues. And that's where we're at.
Any information on the playground?
Say that again, Scott. I talked over you.
Any information on the playground?
Yes, I got a phone call from him on Friday. And of course, you know, that four-letter word COVID is an excuse for everything. So there's a backlog from the factory. He said 2 to 3 weeks. He wished he had a better answer for me, but he's waiting for the manufacturer to tell him when it's going to ship. It should have been shipped on the 5th, and that didn't happen. So right now, you know, I thank God I didn't publicize a date, but the Memorial Day weekend is looking more like a realistic date versus my original date of May 15th.
Yeah, I did speak to Bill McKenna today about another issue, and he kind of brought that up, saying that he's sourcing the same manufacturer for a playground. He got the same story that you just said, Gene. I guess the factory's in Arkansas, and they're having a hard time staffing. All right. That's it on that Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Thank you. Highways, Brian, what do you got for us?
Yeah, it's been another busy April. We actually got all of our winter equipment washed and put away for the season. We've been doing a lot of cleanup. We got not too many dirt roads remaining in town, but we've got all them graded up. Been doing a lot of ditch work across town. We've had a lot of weather events and a lot of rain, but I will say a ton of wind events. I think everybody has probably been impacted. We've had a lot of trees down, a lot of trees and wires. The guys have been busy. Some overtime involved, certainly abroad for the month. But we've been addressing a lot of still danger trees in town across. I've had a list compiled. We're whittling away, and it continues to grow as we whittle it away. But anyway, we're doing good in that aspect. Like I said, we're got a lot of our spring cleanup done and getting prepped for our construction season, our road work season. We did some preventive maintenance work already this month. A lot of crack sealing around town. We got that squared away. Just to reflect on what you're talking about with the playground and whatnot, and delivery of equipment. We had ordered, which we did finally take delivery of that new plow truck, which we had ordered back in I think it was December of 19, and we took delivery April 14th of this year. So everything is pushed out, and I'm looking into the future here to replace a couple more trucks, and it's something I'm trying to jump on because everybody's dealing with the same thing. Everything is pushed out. I know, I'm sure Scott can reflect in the building world. I said everything, it's tough to get a lot of products and equipment, and it's what we're dealing with. But anyway, looking forward to getting some roads back in shape. We got some extra money, which is great, through our CHIPS program, and can tackle some additional roads this year and keep things going in a positive direction. And we had a kickoff meeting with the watershed folks and formerly MMI SLR, now that's doing the engineering design on Red Maple and Bostock Road. So that the folks were out. We went over points of interest there. Their survey team was out, I believe it was the latter part of last week. So that's moving along. We recently, last Friday, actually, we had another grant application out to Shokan Watershed for the Burger Road construction of that crossing. And we did receive $84,740 for construction phase services and to replace that culvert. And that includes bid assistance and helping us with that project and making sure all quantities and everything's what it should be. They did a great job on Upper Boycel and the Silver projects, and hoping to see this get out to bid next month. So anyway, things have been busy. And just to comment, Jim, I think you brought it up before, and my guys have definitely reported back to me the definite influx of traffic on our town roads. And certainly it's I've seen it just in my dealings, several trips around town daily and whatnot. We certainly got an influx which wears on our roadways, and a lot of new building construction going on, and it all impacts our roadways, and we're doing our best to keep it going in a good direction here. But that's about all I got for this month.
Good, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Police Commission, Drew?
Dawn, do you have Dawn's report?
Yeah, I do. April, they had year-to-date 280 calls. Total for April 75. They had 3 vehicle accidents, 5 burglar alarms, 3 animal complaints, 9 medical assists, 5 fire calls, 3 agency assists, 2 disputes, vehicle operation complaint, 2 suspicious vehicle, 1 welfare check, 4 security check, 360 road hazard, 3 paper served, 3 shot fired, 1 noise complaint, 1 vehicle lockout, 3 larceny, 3 911 hang up accidental, 3 special detail, 2 and traffic detail 19, and they had traffic tickets of 6. The court had penal law, they had 7 misdemeanors and 10 violations. Environmental law, they had 11. Agricultural market, they had 2. Town laws, 3. I'm just jumping down here. Vehicle and traffic tickets, they handled 76. Aggravated unlicensed operation, 9. Driving while intoxicated, 8. 6 UPMs, 6 drug offenses. Total defendants, 59. Total visitors, 14. And that's it.
Okay, I have 2 comments coming from the Police Commission. They are working on the 9 items off the police task force list of things. And the other is, I don't know if the town board knew this for sure, but the Police Commission did approve the police department to get body cameras, and they do have them, and they are being used. And believe it or not, there was an incident that occurred shortly after they got them that by having the body cam, it made that incident something that they could deal with pretty easily by seeing what actually occurred during the incident. So that worked out pretty good.
I know that Sean uses the body cam footage as a teaching tool too, which is great.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, the
And I
body
think-
cam, what we
I
found.
think in a couple of instances where the body cam, they did use that to talk to the officer. In this particular case, congratulating him on doing such a good job in dealing with that particular incident.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that came out of the task force and many of the discussions we had was that the body cam is something, a really common thing that both people that are not police and police agree is a good thing. So it's a really nice common area to, the police are happy to have it. It makes them relax in knowing that they're doing things. And I was talking to one of our officers yesterday, and he talks about how he reviews his own footage to see how he looks and how he can improve.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, he said, I might have been a little too uptight there. And I know it assures people who are involved with the police, the public. Anything else on the police commission, Drew?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Dawn, you're up next.
Okay, town clerk's office, we had, we received $169,744.64 in real property taxes. The clerk's office took in $25,291.34. 4,655.98 of that was penalty, interest and penalties for late taxes. I have the fire company, April calls. They had 1 auto accident, 2 structure fires, mutual aids, 4, 2 to Phoenicia, 1 to West Hurley, 1 to Bly Atwood, automatic alarm 4, fires down 3, EMS assist and rescue 3, brush fire 3, public service 1, carbon monoxide 1, for a total of 22 calls. The first aid squad had total of 31 calls, 9 to Shokan, 8 to Olive Bridge, 5 to Boyceville, 5 to West Shokan, 3 to Sanseville, and 1 to West Shirley. And just so that I do have Barry's report for March and April, if anybody wants to see that. And I just would like to say that props to the first aid squad. I had a call from my mom a week or so ago, and they were rather, I beat them there, but I was, they were there quickly. And for Sansonville being way out there, that it was nice that they didn't take long. It does help that the head person, the captain, is my cousin, so she takes care of my mom pretty good. She comes in her own personal vehicle from wherever she is for that call. So, but they were all very, very
nepotism here in your kind
professional.
of a roundabout way.
Yes, a little bit nepotism there. She's on her alert monitor, so yeah, she's there. It's there. So that's it. That's all I got.
I am always impressed by, people tell me all the time about how grateful they are for the first aid response and the fire department response, and how professional they are and how quick they are to get to the scene. So,
well, in the past, wouldn't have been so quick to Sampsonville because a lot of times they're over on the other side of the thing, but they did get there very quickly, and that was very nice.
great.
Good.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yep.
Drew, Scenic Byway, anything new?
Yes, we did meet April 22nd. I'm going to say that they're still struggling with, how to fund the Scenic Byway. We don't have don't have any real source of money. There was discussion about, there seems to be grant money available from the federal Scenic Byway. So I think Carol was going to look into seeing if that was a reasonable thing to apply for a grant. She's still trying to prod the leadership group to meet, because the collaborative group can't really do a lot without guidance from the leadership group, according to the Scenic Byway Maintenance Plan. And we're supposed to meet again next Thursday. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Drew. CAC, David.
Well, first, thanks for getting my name on the liaison there.
You're welcome. And if you notice, Vicky,
Thanks for
you're
taking
there
mine
too.
off.
We've been quite busy. We're getting very close to submitting for bronze status for the Climate Smart Communities. Matt Kovner's doing a fantastic job of getting together pretty massive amounts of documentation for that. The CCA that we just started the process of will be quite a number of points, as well the new website with once I build out the CAC's portion of it. We think we have enough points. It's a little tight if we get some points knocked off. So anything that we can add on there is going to be good. So I sent out something a little earlier about Solarize Ulster County program, which basically if we can get people to sign up for community solar, which basically just means it's locally generated solar that gives you a 10% discount on your supply part of your energy bill. So, and this will work even once the CCA is in place, I believe. So the way this program set up through NYSERDA, we have to have a scoping document, which is what I sent you guys, just for your information. There's nothing in there that should be too controversial. That tells NYSERDA how we're going to pursue this program. Once they approve it, we can start signing people up. And if we can get 10 people, the town get $5,000. So that's pretty nice. Also, it's a good deal for the individual. Aside from that 10% discount, they also get, I'm a little unclear, it keeps saying $50 or $100. I'm not sure what decides how much you get, but they also get a little bit of money back as well. So this seems like a pretty well-funded program.
I have a question.
want- Yes.
Is the, a couple things. The person that decides to sign up for that, does it matter where they're sourcing their energy from now? If there are solar people that have solars on their house allowed?
They can't have solar on their house, right, Simon? I believe I'm correct in that?
Anyone can sign unless they have solar on their house, in which
Right,
case.
so if they have some other ESCO or something like that, that's not gonna matter. So another energy supplier.
Okay.
So those of us who already have solar can't participate.
Correct.
Oh, geez.
Sorry. And we're pretty sure we, just amongst the CAC and a few friends, can probably hit 10 on our own. As far as the town is concerned, the only thing we'll need from the town is a letter from you, Jim, which I would be happy to write for you, and you can review and sign if you like.
Sure. We have different meters in the town on one account. One of the meters has solar, other places in town don't. Does that disqualify us for everything?
Well, that would be the municipal. I don't think that applies here. This is
Oh, okay.
residents.
Actually, we can sign up. It's no different from the Power Market program. In fact, Power Market is one of the 3 approved vendors. So it's the same as if, Jim, we'd signed up to the Power Market program back when you were talking to Jason a couple of years ago.
They can even do the demand meter, Simon?
They can do everything except the one where there's solar on already. The demand meter, it depends on whether we qualify as a small business or not. If it's too larger throughput, then we probably don't qualify. But
The most immediate part is that we are going to try to get this scoping document and letter from Jim in by Friday, if I can get that written into you.
I'm
and
a
if the
little,
board approves.
yeah, I'm a little confused about one thing. On the $5,000, all we have to do is sign up 10 people and we get $5,000, or
we have to be one of the first 100 towns in New York State.
Under 40,000 people or 50.
Oh,
So there is a time element, and that's why we want to try to get moving fairly quickly.
that's what I thought there was some other element that could disqualify you.
According to the county, we will be the first town in Ulster County that's going to move ahead. And we're using all the county documentation. They already set up the program. They pre-qualified all of the marketing organizations. They put together the paperwork. They asked us to copy their paperwork, which includes their names and the like, which is what the scoping document that David sent around.
Okay. I'm sorry we didn't have this on the workshop meeting. It's way better to talk about these things during the workshop meeting when we have time. So what do you need from the town?
Just a letter from you once
What do you need?
we
from
all
the town
approve.
board?
Approval.
Motion?
Just a motion to approve.
Shows the town is behind the campaign and saying, we think it's a good thing that people sign up to the Solarize campaign, which the county is already moving ahead with as part of its Green New Deal.
Okay, any obligations on the part of the town?
Nope.
Just a letter.
Just a letter. Everybody sees those two heads going like this, okay? Remember that. Um,
It seems like a real win for the town, and it could be a good win for the people that sign up. I plan on signing up myself.
Any comments from the town board on this?
I have no problem with it. And David, if you need another person to make the 10, I'll volunteer to do it.
We're aiming for, what do we put on the scoping? 35, I believe.
Yeah.
But, you know, we don't want to hit the bare minimum if we can help it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'll write a letter and try to get that to you as soon as I can.
Well, you should make a motion.
I make a motion that we participate in the Solarize Ulster County program.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you,
Oh.
folks.
So carry. So get me that letter. I'll get it signed. I gotta look at my schedule real quick because we're right in the middle of trying to hire someone, so we're pretty swamped in
Mhm.
our time. Yeah, if you can get it to me tomorrow or Thursday, that would be good.
I should be able to write tomorrow evening. So Thursday morning, you'll have it.
Okay, great. Very
Um,
good. Is the $5,000 tied to anything specific? Is it going to the general fund and we can offset taxes with it?
It is just goes in the general fund.
Okay,
The CAC certainly has some ideas of how we would spend it.
I bet they do.
The one other thing is we've been discussing, and I talked some with Jim, who has reservations, about having a Facebook page for the CAC, as we have a lot of programs, including the Solarize program, that we need to be able to advertise. And it's very difficult in this town, as everyone knows, to get the word out on anything. And expecting people to look at the website, I think, is problematic. You need to be able to push information out to people. And we have the CCA to advertise and get the public on board with. There's some educational programs we're looking at doing. And we just, and it's also actually points for the climate smart community as well to have a social media presence. So we would like to start a web page. I need to confirm with her, but we have somebody that might be willing to be the administrator for that page and be responsible for it, who has more experience in that than the rest of us have.
Let me go back to that. You're talking about two things. You're talking about a Facebook page and a web page.
Sorry, Lolly pointed out, it said the wrong thing. Facebook. We're just talking about Facebook. I just
Okay.
misspoke.
So do we currently have a Town of Olive Facebook page?
We do not. One of the next things on the technology committee that I want to address is
Let me go back. We have a Town of Olive Police Department Facebook page. That was something that we wanted to try, and it's been pretty good. What happened was we had somebody in charge of it. They left the department, and then it got very stagnated and didn't do anything for about a year. And now I spoke to Sean about it, and we met with one of our officers who now administers that, and he is on a very kind of short leash on what he can put in there in terms of that. And that's been working okay. And it does get things, and it gets a fair amount of people looking at it.
So it seems like a CAC stuff should be on a town Facebook page, to me, along with other things that we want to put out to the town.
So here's we just, when did we adopt a social media policy recently?
no, that's the next thing the tech committee was going to work on.
Okay, so we don't have a social media policy, and we have the CAC, who have been doing a lot of work,
Right.
but at times, in my opinion, the work is sometimes thrown at us scattershot and not focused. And a lot of the problems we've had in that is following the policies and procedures that we set forth as a board. From my perspective, when you put things out to the public, you're putting out messaging, and messaging by an organization needs to have control. And the problem with having someone who's not on the town board, and whether that person is someone in the town employment or somebody who is on an appointed committee, you have control over that person to some degree. And if you put it to someone who's not in those positions, then you're giving it to someone who has no affiliation with the town, saying, here, take this, do it. It's great to have the volunteer to do that, but I have the problem with the accountability and the messaging and control of the messaging, because on a Facebook page, you do not have control over the comments. You have to stay on it. If you don't go to that page for a day and somebody starts attacking it and it gets into a group attack of opposing and pro, and your comments are out of control, it can go awry very quickly and actually be very detrimental to whatever you're trying to propose on that Facebook page. I have a problem with it. I don't think we can control our messaging, and given the history of the OCAC, I don't feel like it's a good thing at this point until we have got a town Facebook page going and a policy going for it.
I agree. That was my point. It should be on a town Facebook page that we develop.
And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to put down the work the OCAC doing, because you guys are doing great work over there, and it's very appreciated. But a lot of times it just gets a little too much. We had a meeting last month. We said everything should go through David, the liaison, to my office so that there's a certain amount of control. That worked for about 2 weeks, and I'm getting emails from Dan and other things. So I would like to, let's just focus this a little more at this point. It's really hard for me when I have a workshop meeting and I have a town board meeting and I have a lot of other stuff going on in town I'm trying to deal with, and I'm getting things put before me the day before the meeting, the day of the meeting. It's just not appropriate. There might be a problem because of your meeting schedule being so close to ours that that's the way it happens. You might want to rearrange your meeting schedule to accommodate that. So I don't think I should be getting anything prior to a workshop meeting, anything within 2 days of that meeting. I need time to, I've got 200 other things I'm trying to work on before that meeting. So
I'd like to comment on that. Yeah, he does have a lot going on, and it's hard to get the agenda out on a Tuesday. So if everything's given to him at least the week before, at some early in the week before, that gives him more time to get his thoughts together and get it to me for the agenda. Because I mean, we cut it close some days right up until we leave with the agenda. So
and yeah, it's just there's too many things going on right now. We have a bookkeeping, a building department position to fill. We're doing applicants. We need to get that done in a timely fashion because the person that is in that position now is leaving at the end of the month. And we have another resignation happening of someone retiring in the town that we're going to have to put that out and advertise for that. And that's going to be a broader application process. That takes up a tremendous amount of time, and as well as everything else that's going on. So I'm reluctant. I don't know. I'd like to hear from the other board members.
Can I make one suggestion, Jim?
Sure.
David, I don't know whether this works for you, but since you're putting together the OCAC web page of the town website, would it be acceptable to the board if in creating the Facebook page, at least to start with, to get it going, David is the one who does the posting and makes sure that nothing gets on there until it's gone through his review? So
I'm reluctant to do that because I feel that David is overwhelmed with work. He has the position here, he has a new job, and he has a library head. And a lot of times things get pushed to the last moment. I mean, you're doing a lot of work, David. I'm not trying to dissuade you from doing work, but it's just too much for one person.
And my feeling is before we do any more town-based Facebook pages, we should have a policy. And it would make sense to me that we had a town Facebook page before we had a conservation advisory page.
I've seen sometimes that have committee pages and no town page, but it's not uncommon at all.
My biggest concern is I don't want to see people in the town think that's town input coming, instead of, because a lot of people don't understand how the town operates. So they could see that and think, oh, this is coming from the town of Olive, as opposed to a subcommittee type thing. I think it would be better if we had a town presence first and then had those things there.
I would like to make that very clear, that if you do a CAC Facebook page, you are representing the town of Olive. And the people
That's
that
understood.
take the political ramifications of that are sitting right here in the Zoom meeting. It's not the person administrating it. It's not the person that's posting on it. It's the people here that we sit here and say, what happened on the Facebook page the other day? I've got 10 calls. People are mad about something.
I think we can, well, I don't have time to administer it and to do all the posts. I think we can set it up where I have to approve the posts, if that is any relief.
I'm not willing to put anything more on your shoulders. You're doing a lot of work and you're not.
No, that's not much.
We have a website we're launching any day now, I hope. And I've got a website that I can't keep things on the calendar. They go on and they disappear like a ghost. I'm not really that happy with where we are right now, and I know it's going to change, and I'm excited about that. But I'm not willing to back that right at this time. We have been talking about a Facebook page for the town, and I hope that we get there one day. I did talk to Helene Grant from the town of Shandaken about her Facebook page.
You mean Joyce Grant?
Joyce Grant, thank you. Thank you, Dawn.
I've even beaten it around myself, but the question is, it's got to be administered and kept on top of it. Because I was going to do a town clerk one.
Yeah, she's on it town several times a day and doesn't let anything get by her. And she's a paid employee. And so you're paying someone to go on Facebook and monitor and make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. And she's had to throw people off for political comments. And it's in this political divisive atmosphere, there's a great potential for it to go that way.
Right. A good example is, some of you probably know about this app that's out there called Nextdoor.
Yeah.
And there was somebody, I don't know the people's names, but somebody got on there and started talking about the assessments. And the last I saw, there was like 37 comments, and it was like going all over the place. Even Mike Baden from Rochester chimed in a couple of times to try to straighten people out. But it's so easy on these kind of Facebook pages or even that app for people just to go off the wall without even knowing what they're talking about. And we gotta have a way of controlling that, and with a policy, and know how to do it.
I think we have to have a social media policies and procedures.
Yeah.
I just think it's
I've seen it go bad so many times that I don't see the gain. I really don't. I think the going bad outweighs the gain at this point for me.
I think one place where it worked pretty well is in the opposition to the hydro plant. I think social media helped that quite a bit. But there you had almost 100% of people thinking the same thing.
And it was a targeted campaign.
Yeah.
I also think we had that mailing drew a lot of people too, because we had a lot more calls because of the mailing, and that helped them because the website was there too.
Right.
So that brought a lot of attention to that problem situation.
And with the mailing, we brought people to the website. I'd like to see the numbers on the website in the last 2 months, and if they increased. I would imagine that increased. So there are other ways other than Facebook to do this. And I think that we should be open to that, and ways that are much more controlling our messaging. I can tell you that there were people that opposed the CCA, and it wasn't about having a reasoned dialogue or conversation. It was no way, no how, I don't trust you people. What do you think goes on the Facebook page? What do you say? Oh, you should trust us? It's so easy to get into a back and forth on it. What do you do? Take that person's post off and then they go somewhere else and talk about how you censored? There's things here that are better discussed in better platforms, in my opinion. We have town board meetings. We have more traditional ways of doing this. The Facebook page, I've never been, I kind of agree with Sylvia's perspective on it. It's not the place to do the business that we do. If we can at some point get ahead of it and make it as an informational thing, as a town thing, maybe. But, like I say, you
With-
gotta be on there every minute.
Well, without saying any names, but we did have issues once before with somebody posting stuff that was of an official, in official capacity in town, and it wasn't always right information.
Right, right. There's a lot of false information gets out.
Would you guys be okay with us putting like for the Solarize on that Olive community page that I believe Emily Sherry created? Or
which,
something like that?
I'm not familiar with these pages. I don't think you should be going out representing the town on social media. If you want to make personal comments on there, that's your business, but not representing the town. I'm a little, I'm unwary of you going out messaging, saying you're representing the town without the town board knowing what you're saying. It can get out of hand that quick. I don't know. That's my discomfort with it.
Okay, we'll have to figure out some other way of reaching out.
Yeah, we're not there. I mean, I hate to be the person to, to put throw the cold water on this, but it's just not something that we can move quickly on and decisively on right now. And I know we have a campaign starting that we're going to have to move quickly and decisively on. We're just not ready for it.
All right.
Any other comments on that?
Want to chime in as a young person. I'm excited to come to the-
Who is that? I see your name there.
Yeah, I can't turn my video on because David was
Oh,
helping
sorry.
me earlier and turned me off because I was making dinner. There we go. Perfect. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
My name's Liz. Jim, I've met you. I'm Josh and Anna's tenant here on Lang Road.
Oh, hey, Liz, how are you?
I have taken interest in board meetings from the pump storage project, and a lot of actually my friends here in town,
You
artists.
hooked another one, huh?
Yeah, well, I will say I tried to find the calendar invite and it disappeared on me, and I had to like go digging on the town website and by the chance found the link for the Zoom meeting.
Because it disappeared.
It disappeared. I found it because I happened to look at the sports and rec link instead from last week, and it was there for some reason. Yeah, it was like a backdoor way to get in.
Yeah.
I totally agree with the Facebook can get out of hand fast. I'm a part of a Catskills hiking group on Facebook. And I don't know if you know, Tim Lubby is the admin on that. He's wonderful. He seems wonderful. I've never met him in person, but I very much appreciate his admin style on that Facebook group. So I wanted to chime in about it a little bit. I know that there are ways you can turn comments off. But I will say that unless I wasn't semi-tech savvy with finding backdoor ways to get to Zoom meetings for board meetings, and also a little bit tech savvy and stalking the town website as it is now, I would never have known about this interesting and amazing solar opportunity for the town. And I know that I have friends locally in town in Olive Bridge and who are interested in these sorts of things, but there's no way to know about it. I had a friend I was just texting that I was in a board meeting, and she was like, how did you find it? How did you know about it? I didn't know about it. So I feel like I wanted to speak up because I see both sides. I feel like Facebook is a great way to get out. I actually personally went to go search Facebook the other day to see if the town of Olive had a Facebook page, to see events, just events like when does camp start? When is Olive Day happening? When it's happening? When does the
Olive Day does have Olive Day does have a link, a Facebook page.
Yeah, I feel like I have a unique perspective. So I moved to the town of Olive January 2020, 6 months before the pandemic. And now I'm trying to find things like, how do I get involved? What's town like when Little League started? I had no idea. I had people parking on my block this week, and it was exciting to see, but I've been eager to find and to be more involved, but it's not easy to find. So it's exciting to hear that there will be a town website that's revamped.
That launch should happen soon, right, David?
Yeah, I was going to hit that on my tech committee update.
Okay. Yeah, and we recognize the problem. We're not there yet, in my opinion, on the solution for social media. And I'm very hesitant to jump into it because unlike other entities, the town often generates controversies. There are people, it gets political. It gets very political, and it's not a productive conversation on Facebook when it gets political. I've never seen anybody go to Facebook and get involved in a political conversation and say, yeah, I changed my mind. I get it now. Yeah, maybe I was wrong in my life. I haven't seen that happen. So I'm really apprehensive about that until we have way, way better controls on it.
And it's possible as a town, censoring comments, like one of the things you can do on Facebook and those kind of pages is look at the comment before it's actually allowed to be posted. I don't know if the town, it would be allowed to do that, because in a sense it's censoring from a political entity. So
that's what Joyce Grant does in Shandaken.
Okay.
Yeah,
But now
she doesn't allow any comment on
Right.
it. It's just for informational purposes only.
That would be almost better. No comments are allowed. It's just for information.
I don't believe you can do that.
Yes, you can, Jim. I just checked it out on the Facebook. If
I'm
you're
gonna
a
look into
Facebook
it, but
group,
again, we're not moving on this till we have a policy.
right, sure. But I mean, you
I
can
was
do
told,
just what Drew
We
said,
looked
which
into
is,
this a year ago, and we were told that you cannot disable comments, and that was actually what happened in the police department. We had that discussion, and we were told you can't disable comments. So maybe that's changed. I don't know. We can look into it, but we're not, until we have a policy, we're not doing anything. I'd like to, going back to what Liz said, I appreciate it. And what I would hope people would do on these, there's a variety of sites now about the Catskills and about the town of Olive. I'm a little surprised that Olive Day has a Facebook page without the approval of the town board. And what I would like to do is, what I would hope is that people look at the new website and on these other Facebook pages say, you can find out more about it if you go to the town website, and people can then bookmark that. And hopefully it'll be easy enough to navigate and engaging enough and inviting enough for people to want to go there and find out the information there. That's
Jim,
my hope.
Yeah. Is there some sort of flyer or like widespread announcement coming out about the new website?
Not yet. No. It costs us a tremendous amount, nearly $1,000 to do a mailer.
Yeah,
Every time we
right.
do a mailer. And often when we have an issue come up that people want more information about, they always say, why don't you do a mailing in a town? If I did every mailing in a town, your taxes would go up by 20%. And I'd be people yelling at me going, my taxes went up by 20%. Why didn't you mail me and tell me? So I gotta, it's like you can't win. At a certain point, people have to take the responsibility in their community to be civically engaged and seek out the information. And our job is to make that information readily available at this point in time on the website. That's my 2 cents. I probably a little more than 2 cents on it. Board members, any comments on that? But we recognize the problem and we're working on it. And Liz, anytime you want to call the office, stop by, or chime in on our Zoom meetings and help us with that, would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, yeah. I'm not the most like tech savvy, I guess, digital native ever, but I do work for an online university. So,
There you go. Right.
yeah.
Do they have a Facebook page?
They do. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So I work for Southern New Hampshire University. It's like one of the big.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Well, nice to meet you here. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. I'm going to go back to our agenda here. And David, anything else on the CAC?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Zoning, Drew.
I think the only real thing right now on our agenda is continuing with the STR. Jim gave us some more additional comments. We're going to meet next Thursday, the 20th.
It's
Try
the
to go over
short-term.
those and get back to Jim on his comments. What I'm hoping out of that is we can do two things with the STR, short-term rental law, is send it off to Dan for his review, and probably have to wait till after Dan reviews it and see if we need to make any changes before we send it to the county for their referral. But I would like to see this It'd be nice to get it done by the end of summer.
Yeah, it would be, and that'll be another controversial subject because
Right.
regulating something that's in existence has a lot of ramifications for a lot of people who have businesses set up and things like that. So, it's going to be a tough one. And you
Yes.
get
And
very likely people that are very supportive of the regulation and people who are saying, why are you regulating my ability to make a living? So,
Right.
Yep.
And I suspect, even though the document we have is about 9 pages long, as if you print it out, it's fairly restrictive. Primarily trying to get control of it and trying to encourage people to do long-term rental as opposed to short-term rental.
right.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be very controversial.
That's kind of from what I've looked at, what they've worked on so far is kind of where we're nudging people. Let's try to, discourage out-of-town corporations from buying houses and doing Airbnb. And let's try to let people who live here, who have an extra bedroom or a second dwelling on their property in some way, let them be able to supplement their income with that. But we're trying to keep the little precious full-time residents that we have here, encourage long-term rentals, encourage that kind of thing. And I did want to mention this earlier when you brought up the zoning code changes. I would like you to thank everyone on that zoning committee for the work they've been doing. They've really been going through zoning code. It's like probably one of the most boring, difficult things to do. And I really do thank you guys for that.
All right, I'll bring that up next Thursday. I mean, when I started this, I thought it would be much easier than it's turning out to be, to make some quick changes to it. But I mean, if we had the money, we had the time and the desire, I think we would probably need to rewrite the whole code, but that is a huge undertaking and expensive.
Mhm. I did also want to mention that with our appointment of Paul on the planning board, that now that does open up a new position on the zoning board of appeals. So if you guys want to make, email me if you have any recommendations on that, on people that might be interested in the zoning board of appeals. I'll put it up on the website that nobody goes to, and go move from there. Hopefully not the new website, or hopefully we get it on the new website. Yeah, I've been talking about that website changing for years. And you know what? I'm going to go on a little bit more about the website. What's really funny about the website is when you look at it from the outside, you go, oh, this really is terrible. That's what was my criticism for years, saying we got to fix the website, we got to fix the website. And I get in office and I'm like, we got to fix the website. And then I started working with the website we have, and that's even worse, trying to work with it. It's just, I can't find things on it. I put things on it, they disappear. It's unbelievable. So I'm glad it's going to get better. You are assuring me that, right, David?
Well, is it ready for my update? I want to just keep it all in one
Segue
area.
right into the technical
Okay.
committee there, technology committee.
So right now, the current website should be locked down so that Wiltwick can work on migrating everything over to the new site. And that should be up. I didn't get a chance to get a full update today, but end of the week, early next week, we should be on the new site. Sadly, the calendar doesn't change. So I want to talk to Pete at Wiltwick about why some of these things seem to be disappearing. The calendar is the same backbone. I mean, it might look a little jazzed up and, the colors and everything will match the rest of the site, but the thing that runs the calendar doesn't change. So
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's communication because things started disappearing when we lost the ability to go in and work on it.
Oh, just this past week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It did happen once before.
I think it was last month. Last month, we lost the workshop meeting too.
We
You
did
said
lose it
something.
last month. And I'm never sure whether it's a communication thing between us and the website people, or whether it's just a glitchy thing that happens.
If you manage to get it posted and it disappears, that's a glitch, most likely. That's not a communication.
So today, the workshop is on the calendar and tonight's meeting is not on the calendar.
And
Totally
and
weird.
yesterday, it
And
was
yesterday was the
vice
opposite.
versa.
Yesterday was the other way around.
So what happened was I told Rebecca yesterday that, hey, the audit meeting isn't on the website. And she said, I can't go on the website and change it. I have to notify them. So she notified them that there was a missing thing for the meeting that night. They put it on and took the other one off. I don't know why. Welcome to websites. Maybe we get to
Yeah.
Facebook. Okay. Anything else on technology?
Well, I already said several times, the next thing we're going to probably be looking at, if this is what we want to pursue at all, unless you want to call me off it, is a Facebook or social media policy.
Okay. That's it.
That's it for
Any
me.
other comments? Come on, we're only 2 hours into it. Buildings and grounds, Scott.
Well, we have no report.
No,
That's
that's it?
Thank you,
that's
sir.
because he wants to go. He wants to
I like
go to
that.
bed.
No report.
Show on now or something? All right. Planning board, Vicky? How's
Yeah.
it going over at the planning board in Sailor Mill and all our other friendly places?
Well, last month the planning board didn't have a second meeting to discuss Sailor Mill because Sailor Mill hadn't responded to a bunch of requests for things like a traffic study and some other environmental review. So last week, there was a public hearing on the Tenter property on McMillan Road.
Yes.
It was a spirited discussion. But I think that Colin LaFletch was able to answer the questions that the neighbors had. They seemed satisfied, and I think it's going to go forward without any.
Well, they
other-
asked him
Okay,
to, they asked him to actually bring some more information back. They had like 6 points they wanted him to address, and they were going to readdress at the next month's meeting.
which he's starting to respond to already. And then there was the beginning of discussion with Anne Marie Johansson and Chet Kirkowski regarding subdivision of their property. And the planning board has asked them to resubmit the map from when the last time that there was a review and there was the whole case, which everybody knows about, that went to court regarding their having weddings on the property. And so they're going to have to submit a revised, corrected map that shows everything that was ordered in the court case. So that'll be coming up in the future. And I believe we're having,
Site plan, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And I believe there's going to be a Sailor Mill meeting next week to go forward with Sailor Mill.
Okay.
So I think into the future, there'll be two
I
meetings.
know that the bills are running up high in the Sailor Mill for the consultants. I know
Yeah.
that's, we're constantly replenishing the account we have for that.
Has, Vicky, has the planning board made a secret determination yet?
No.
They're still in the process of doing that? Okay.
Yeah, they're still waiting to get that response from the Sailor Mill
There are
folks.
a number of
Okay.
points, number of issues that they want a response on.
Okay.
So,
Okay, anything else on planning?
nope, that's it.
Okay. I did want to let you guys know that we are going to full staffing on May 19th. That's like what, 6 or 7 to 8 days.
Terrific.
We will be doing full staffing, maintaining the masks and social distancing policy until that's relaxed. But the governor has given us the green light to do that far. Also, I didn't know what your thoughts were on the not next week's meeting, but the town meeting in June, the town board meeting. Do you want to go live and do you want to go outside? Do you want to go in the meeting hall and try to wing it there and see how it goes?
I'm good with meeting in the meeting hall
I'm all vaccinated.
or Davis Park. I don't care either place. I just rather get in person as opposed to on Zoom.
Actually, one thing that I should have said in my tech update is that I'm also trying to investigate some way to hybridize our meetings so that even when we do go to the meeting hall, that people can participate via Zoom. And And in fact, even if one of us can't make it for some reason, we could still Zoom in so long as we have a quorum in person. That's what the meeting law requires, is my understanding.
Right.
Well, we can talk about that. I think there's a lot of things we have to look at that in terms of how we proceed with that.
So I would,
We've never done
I would vote in favor of meeting in person either place, either the town meeting or at Davis Park.
that. Okay.
I think the meeting hall is probably safe as long as we don't have anything controversial on the agenda.
There's plenty of space to isolate.
We're always prepared. Since COVID, we've been shy about going to the meeting hall. But most of our meetings have 3 people show up.
Right.
So it's like you could have 20 feet of space. But of course, something will come up and it'll be crowded and we'll be like, oh my God.
Well, question with Davis Park and the pavilion there, Little League every time, is Little League every Tuesday and Thursday so far? And our town meetings the same night of the week?
Gene, do you have a schedule for that?
Yes, Rebecca has it, and and I say jokingly, but it's also on the website. But yes, T-ball is at Davis Park Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Because it gets kind of crowded.
How late does it run?
Well,
Wildlife
almost till dark,
preserver around you with a long rope. Go to
7:30.
the website. We'll pull you out if you don't come out.
7:30.
So we would overlap, so that's not ideal.
Yeah.
Didn't we have a meeting in Davis Park and they were playing baseball at the same time? When we were that way last year?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
I don't think anything was going on when we were over there.
I don't remember.
It was still
There was
mid-COVID.
kids
I remember
there.
seeing the bear run across and chasing the doe,
With
or
the-
the
yeah,
fawn.
yes.
That was pretty exciting. I would probably go for the town hall myself. Let's see how things go. What's on the agenda? If it looks like it's going to be a big controversial item like Facebook, we'll have it outside. How's that?
Okay.
And if the restrictions are relaxed, that would make it way easier. Okay. I'll let you know.
Courts are starting to have people in person too.
Louis?
Courts.
Yeah, courts have a very regulated way of doing it. They allow people in for their case and then they send them out and bring the next people in.
Well, actually, that's not always true. I'm on the family treatment court panel and they bring in 6 or 7 participants at a time. And everybody. on
All
screen.
of court's doing it the same way. All of court is bringing in a half a dozen cases at a time and then swapping them out as one leaves.
But socially distancing them.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But if we had a public meeting, we wouldn't have as much control over how many people were in the room.
And the courts are regulated differently than us. The only thing that's allowing us to do what we're doing is Cuomo doing more or less suspending open meeting laws every month. If he stops doing that, then we have no choice but to go back to in person.
Right.
Yeah, court is not regulated by open meeting laws.
Right.
It's open to the public normally, but they don't have to be. They're not open meeting regulated.
I know. My point was only if they're having 6 participants and the judge and the facilitator and the bailiff. So there's like 10 people in the room. There's enough space to have people space, but 10 people is 10 people. It's
Yeah.
perfectly acceptable.
And that's what our town board meeting would have if we don't have an issue that brings out a lot of people.
Right.
So should I not come to the in-person?
Yeah, please do.
Please do.
All right. Have we flushed that out enough?
Yes.
So
Okay.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, and I'd like to just point out a couple of people that we're adjourning in memory of. The first person is May Oberkirk, and she was the person who started the Olive First Aid.
Well, she was one of the founding members of the
Oh, wow.
Olive First Aid.
Wow.
Okay.
She's-
So she was instrumental.
Her previous marriage name was Steen.
Was what?
Steen. It was
Steen.
May Steen. She
Oh,
lived
Steen.
up
Okay.
in the Hollow. She didn't live in town anymore, but I felt it important enough to put her in the
And she was awarded the Town of Olive Citizen of the Year in 1985.
Wow.
That,
Nice.
wow. Let me just see, she was, let's see when she was born. She was born in 1930, so 90, what is that, put it, 91.
Anyone?
Yeah,
We also had John Hanson adjourning in memory of. And John served on the town board and did his time here with us. And Lee Conscious passed away the other day. Longtime community member in the region, right? Dawn, he lived
I
in.
think so,
Olive
yeah, yeah.
for a
I
while,
mean, his family's been around.
Anybody remembers where the diner was over by where it used to be the Hess station? Now it's what, Speedway on 28? That's where the diner was, over by there by Dietz's, right?
I'm not sure where his diner was. Yeah, I didn't know him too well. I know Jimmy better, his son, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Lee too well.
Lee lived over on Tonchi Terrace for as
Right.
long as I can ever remember. And yeah, his diner was down, Royal Diner was down by Dietz towing service there in the old Hess station. But
Right,
great man.
right. All right, so I'd like to, Vicky made a motion to adjourn in memory of those three residents, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Hey,
Thanks, Liz, for joining our meeting.
yes,
Thanks, Gene.
Everybody.
See you later.
Well.
take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.